All right, welcome ladies and gentlemen to week number 65. This is Open Live Q&A and my name is Mr. McLogan. Thank you so much for joining me in tonight where I go ahead and answer your questions that you guys go ahead and submit to me on the chat. And I also wanted to talk to you guys a little bit more about a kind of interesting kind of topic in regarding that should we be paying our students to kind of learn? I have some thoughts. This isn't something randomly that came across me. And also, I have some thoughts on this, something I've thought about in times before. And then also with the way that kind of, school has kind of changed, they're starting to see some things where it just kind of seemed like a distant, afterthought. Now there's some things that actually kind of make a little bit more sense. So I want to go ahead and talk over with that with you guys. But I do see that Alex, you're on, and Manu and Kayla and Yasel and Jenny J. Thank you so much. And Addie, of course, great to have you guys on. It is it's really good. We're kind of getting now into the final stretch here. I know everybody's like on a different thing. Some people are still hybrid. Some people haven't even gone back to the classroom. Some people have already taken exams. It's like, it's so weird still to even think of like the school year. We just started our fourth quarter this last week. So we're going to be wrapping all of that up in my school. And right now we're kind of gearing towards, I'm finishing up majority of my classes. I'm still not done with the general instruction, but I should be finishing that up here in the next couple weeks. And then it'll be kind of like test prep, kind of from there. And hey, Charles, good to see you on. And Amarian, I believe. And Mena, good to see. And Vedant, excellent to have you guys on. So I do have some questions. If this is the first time you've ever been to a open live Q&A, what I like to do is just kind of talk with you guys as far as some of the content or some of the things each and every week that I decide. And then also I take questions. Now, if you are interested to see if I'm going to be able to get to your questions, all of these questions have been pre-submitted. And so if you are interested in submitting a question, then you can go ahead and submit a question on this website, on my website to go ahead and do that. So what I'll do is I'll post this in the chat. And therefore you guys can go ahead. I'm not sure why I didn't post this in before, but if you guys are interested, then you guys can go ahead and submit a question. Each and every week I go through them. But the problem with the submitting of a question is I only look at the questions on Sundays. So you're not going to get a quick response from me, for on these. And so what I do also have is a Discord server as well. So if you are interested, if you kind of need a little bit more help, you want a little bit more of a community of students that are either learning math, helping others with math, or need more explanation, then please go ahead and check out the Discord server. It is actively growing, and it is a amazing community where people are getting help with their math. People are helping. Some people have become tutors that never thought they would probably become a tutor. And there are official tutor roles, but a lot of people just like to help other people, and so they are not official tutors, but they're there in there answering questions. And I think it's always important to have a community that's going to continue to grow, that you got to have people that are asking questions and also helping others with questions. So feel free to join in the community if that's something you're interested in or just kind of curious to see how that works. The link is, again, pinned in the description. Absolute value inequalities. I think, Jaden, I do have some questions on that. So if you just maybe just search that, you can definitely go and see. So, I love your quadratic videos. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So basically, I'm going to take an exam tomorrow. Wish me luck. You got this. You've got this. This is time. That's awesome. Already into the exam season. Hey, a question. I will have pre-calc next semester. Any recommendations to really understand? Yeah, I wowould just recommend, pre-calculus. Go back through your basic trig from geometry class, and then also go back and review polynomials from algebra 2 as well. I think like factoring and polynomials, that's something that a lot of students get mixed up with. And then also say the trig would be a good review for you. So I think that would be something for you guys to have in there. All right. And hey, Matthew, Antini, and Jefferson. Yes. Awesome. Speaking for experience, the Discord server is a lifesaver. Well, that's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that, Charles. I'm glad you found benefit. I know that it was something I created, I think maybe a year ago. From today, or not from today, but it was around a year ago time. And, I just didn't really know what I was doing. At that point, I was answering all the questions And now it just became like so much where I couldn't handle everybody's question. I had to create something where people, were going to be able to help each other out. And yeah, it keeps on growing. So I'm definitely encouraged of seeing the growth of the community. And I think it's an awesome experience for people to, share their questions as well as share their understanding of mathematics, with others. Yes, and you should pay the students. Well, the cool thing is, so on the Discord there, if you do get the tutor role, you can accept tips, right? So people are kind of accustomed to paying, tutors, right? Because all these people that are helping in the Discord server, it's completely free, right? But we do allow the tutors to have have the ability for people to like tip them or to pay them, right? Because it is all free time, and a lot of people, are spending a lot of time answering questions, and helping people learn. And I think it's important, but you also got to understand that's people's time that they're giving up. Spending, helping you with whatever problem you have. But the interesting thing is, well, what about if we flip that on the head, right? What if we, what if we started paying students? And this is a weird kind of question. And one of the things that kind of came up to me, the reason why I originally kind of thought about this was, the students, everybody's like, oh, it's your job, right? I remember like my parents, when I was in school, like, hey, this is your job. Like your job is to get an education, right? And that was the way that I was brought up, that you get a job, you get an education, or you get an education, you go to school and then you get a job, right? And that's kind of like the path. And then I started like kind of thinking like, once I became a teacher, a lot of students aren't taking, school seriously. And obviously we want an educated society, but one of the things, if we want students to really take advantage of the education, it's not so much about just getting a piece of paper, graduating, and it's like, okay, now like, what do I do? Like, we want people to, actually invest in their education, and actually, become that to really become invested in what they're learning and to grow, right? We want people to be educated. And so one of the things was like, hey, like what if they did kind of take in like this job, kind of aspect. And it was kind of funny. I didn't think about it from a taxpayer perspective. And a couple people on the YouTube channel like, oh yeah, taxpayers, are going to take up for that, which is funny. I didn't even think about it because I never thought about it as like a federal idea. I was thinking of it actually more of like the private, kind of a little bit more in private investment. And because I was thinking, there's so many people that have so much money and that are invested in giving out scholarships for colleges, right? There's so much money that we give students for colleges and scholarships. And I was just thinking, I'm like, I wonder if that, if we took that money and maybe just invested it more like in the student personally, for them to, show them what they are capable of. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like graduating high school or college, but it's like, putting that investment in the student to, whatever they're doing. If they're just going to go to a trade school or whatever else, but putting that investment into them to be the best they can possibly be at that. And it's just an interesting concept. I think there's money out there. And, because I think one of the problems that I'm starting to see with education is students kind of feel like they're just going through high school is just checking the box. They don't really care about learning. They don't really care about what they're learning. I just need to pass this class or learn this to get to the next step, to get to college. And now college is kind of turned into this, just need to get my degree and then move on, right, to the real world. And then also there's a lot of debt because college has gotten extremely expensive. So then you have these people that are in debt, from all their education, and they haven't really taken the educate. And then again, I'm broad brushing this, but then they haven't really taken their education seriously. It's not really helping them, or what they got is not a great, direct degree that they're able to apply initially, and in the competitive workforce. And then they are just kind of sitting back with this, kind of debt. And it's like, what do I do, now with this? Like, where are my skills and my resources that I paid all this money for that's going to, get me competitive in the workforce? And, it's kind of an interesting, proposition. I was like, well, so many people are spending so much time, getting people to, colleges and, to be learning them and to, actually, I'm like, what if we just, invested that money directly into them? And, have them, do some learning. I mean, I think obviously there's always going to be people that will take advantage of the situations, right? Just want to make money and to get grades. But yeah, it was just, it was something kind of interesting that, I think might be around. And the other reason why I wanted to bring this up, because it actually is already happening. So there is a new app. There's a new app. It actually just got access to the Apple store. So I'm going to add this in there. But there is a app. And if you have not already seen it, go ahead and check it out. It's the Takeoff app. And it is on the, it is in the, at least I know it is in the App Store for Apple. I'm not sure where else it is, but so what they do is they actually have contests and quizzes where students can basically join the quizzes for free and they get paid for basically doing well. So it's a really cool concept. Like they have money that is literally paying students to learn. And so one of those things really kind of got me thinking. It's like, that's a very interesting approach. Like we are trying to incentivize students that like, hey, this stuff is, we see the power in that students, when they take their education, when they are putting that work to learning to work rather than, wasting their time on social media, watching YouTube videos, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, putting some of that time away and to focus on like, learning and getting better at whatever content they're doing, is beneficial. And so there's real money that you earn. I've actually worked with them and we did a quiz for my class and it was pretty cool. I'm doing it for a couple quizzes right now. I have the, did I put this in there? I put it, but I forgot to pin it. All right. So I will put that new pin app in there. So the Takeoff app. So I did this with my class and it was pretty cool. Like I had a student that actually won and they got free money, like just for doing my math quiz. Like, so I do the quiz like inside the class and they were the winner and they got money. And everybody that was working on that app was taking it very seriously. Like there was that competition, right? It kind of sparked some, I don't know, it gave them the spark of like, I want to do the best I can possibly do, which for a lot of students, when I'm taking quizzes, a lot of them are just, whatever, it's like I get an A, I get a B, whatever. I just need to, get a good grade, right? It's like, I just need to get good enough. And that was always kind of like where I'm at. But once kind of money was thrown into the picture, they were taking it very seriously. And also for those of you that are on my 30-day challenges, we're going to have a contest inside for those. And then for all of you, I'm looking into, hopefully within the next, month or so, we'll look into, hosting another, maybe we'll do like another challenge as well, during this live stream or something like that for, all of you guys that are on the, app. So definitely something that I am kind of very intrigued about the growth of this kind of learning and getting paid to learn, or, at least incentivizing with some cold hard cash, which I think is really, really cool. So if you are learning, right now, I believe they have a lot of SAT preps that are on there, as well as kind of like some AP classes as well. So, but it's totally free to join. You don't have to be a part of a certain class to go and check it out. And I think it's just, something beneficial if it's going to help you learn. And, why waste your time doing some things that you probably shouldn't be doing, online when you need to be studying or doing it else? Like check out the apps. I think they almost have quizzes every single day where you can learn real money. And Metal, thank you so much for the super chat. I greatly appreciate that. That is awesome. So you've helped me out tremendously this year. Well, I am very happy to be there for you. Go ahead. It's that app Takeoff. Try to, I pulled it up. I actually had to update my phone. So I'll show you guys what it is. I can get, but yeah, if you just type in Takeoff in the App Store, this is what I got. So there. I know it's not bringing me up. But yeah, it's Takeoff Live Learning. So check it out, at least in the App Store. I'm not sure if they're in all the other app stores that you guys have. So, but I know they're in the App Store. I just got to update my phone because I didn't do the software update. So I don't know. It's pretty cool. Like I said, I've already tried it out once. I'm not affiliated or anything with them. I've just been using it for inside my own class, and then we have been I've been using it in my in my own class, as well as I'm going to be using it for my challenge. So feel free to go ahead and check it out. Maybe it's something that you'd be interested in, maybe not. But I'll definitely look into, I want to explore it a little bit more as well as like give you guys some introduction inside of that for my class. And Ethan, peace and love from Canada. Will you really save me? Well, I'm very happy, Ethan, to be able to help you out. All right, guys. So I'm going to go and get into the question now for you guys. And so if you do have any questions, I do see, Kazo, your questions. Oh, you actually were solving it. Well, good for you. I like that. Given 1 over tangent cosine of x. Yeah. Okay. So well, thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get through these questions. If you guys do have questions on this, then you can go ahead and submit them into the links, which I put in the description of this live stream. All right. So, and then if there's any other questions you guys have at the end, we'll kind of see how long these questions go. Then I'll be more than happy to see what else I can assist you with. So, can you unblur the censored cartoons? Yeah, I'm not sure. Thanks for doing this. Distant learning. You're very welcome. You should pay us to learn. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Actually, you know, before I gotta go, I gotta check. Before I gotta see what you guys did. So I was doing. So I did if you're not on my channel, I did a poll. So I do a poll for almost every live stream. Just kind of get you guys like where you guys kind of feel thing. And initially yesterday, the kind of censor was that something was fishy. So, it's all right. All right. We got 5,000 votes. Let's see what we got here. Karen, no, I tried to bring back chin strap. My wife was not a fan of the chin strap. So kind of interesting. 27%, only 27% said like, hey, yeah, don't even care about it. It's like, sign me up. 56% thought there was a catch, which, I think there kind of is. I mean, obviously, we're not going to just be throwing money, for people to get grades, but I think I think that that's going to come. There's obviously always going to be strings attached. Like, oh, if people are giving you money and you're not giving, for like, how is that going to work? Like, what are you going to have to learn? How are you going to have to learn? Is there a timing, So kind of interesting, there's no details of any kind of plan. And then I like the, know that we have bigger problems, 17%, which I agree. If you kind of look at the question as far as on face value, you could definitely see there's an issue, if we've survived as a species for this long, like educating ourselves, and now we have to like physically force people by like incentivizing them with money, we have an issue, which I can see that point. But I think there's also just some adapting, and changing things. And that's the way that I kind of look at it as well. Cool. All right. So no more chin strap. But go ahead and take off the app. All right. Actually, let me go and do this. Download. Yeah, whatever. App take off live learning. All right. So let's go ahead and let's get into some questions. All right, so the first one is from Elite, is to verify the identity. So a couple things we could do here. On this right-hand side, actually, let's go ahead and change this to red. Okay. So on the right-hand side, I know that cotangent is going to be cosine over sine. So this would be a sine squared of x times a cosine squared of x all over a sine squared of x. Now you can see the sines will divide out, right? So that's going to leave you with a 1 minus a cosine squared of x. Now this is equal to a sine squared, right? Sine squared of x, which then you could break that up into this over it if you really wanted to, but it's kind of might not be as like obvious. So the other way you can kind of look at this is say, well, this is actually equal to sine squared of x because tangent is sine squared of x over cosine squared of x, which is just equal to a sine squared of x, right? So in this case, I'm not really seeing one way where it's easier just to work on one side. In this case, you would want to kind of do a little simplifying on both sides to kind of, make it the most amount of sense for there. Can you show it? Yeah, all right. So I'll try to put the lap here. I'll put the app logo. Let me go back and find it. Let's see if this zooms in. It looks like the little app from there. So it's like a purple little rocket. Live learning games. So you can see that little purple rocket from there. So yeah, some real money. So I think it's pretty cool. I think it's definitely something worth checking out if you're interested there. Yes, don't miss unit circle A. That is for sure. All right, let's go and move on to the next one. So next one is to solve a inequality. So in this one, we have x on both sides. What you're going to want to do in this case here is, what should we do? All right, so in this case, I'm going to want to get rid of the 5 and the 2. So I'm going to multiply by LCD, which in this case is going to be 10. So by multiplying everything by 10, what I get here is a 2 times 3 minus 2x plus a 80 is greater than or equal to a 5 times 5x plus 2 minus 10x, right? So what's happening is I'm multiplying times everything. All right, so now the name of the app is pinned in the chat. It is the Takeoff app. So I'll just go ahead and do Takeoff. What's it called? Live learning games. Okay. All right, all this live checkout app, Takeoff live learning games. There you go. All right, so hopefully that works. Let me know from on there. I am not sure, Charles, if they are in the Google. I know they just got accepted on the Apple Play, like within literally a couple weeks. So if it might not be something that they are just there yet from on there, but they do have a Discord server as well. So you can also go ahead and check out their Discord server, which I believe, I believe that was on there. Is it on? I'm not sure if it's on Android. I just have on the app. That was the only one that I got for the App Store for Apple. That was the only one that I was made aware of. So, what if I could? Yeah, I should have got a introduction. I think even if you go to Takeoff app, just go to like Google, you can get access to their Discord server as well. Okay, so let's get back into the math questions. All right, so this one, so I multiplied everything by 10. So 10 divided by 5 is 2, right? 10 times 8 is 80. 10 divided by 2 here, that gives me a 5, and then you distribute, okay? So now let's just go ahead and distribute here and distribute here. So I get a 6 minus a 4x plus 80 is less than or equal to a 25 plus 10 minus a 10x. Okay, oh, that's a 25x. All right, so let's go and combine some like terms here. So I have a negative 4x, let's say plus 86 is less than what? Less than or equal to a 15x plus 10. All right, so I don't really like doing this, but I'm kind of running out a little bit of space here. Let's go ahead and get the x's to the same side. So I'll add a 4x, and then I'm going to subtract a 10. Okay, so therefore that's going to give me a 76, as long as I'm doing my math right, is less than or equal to a 19x. And then 76 divided by 19 is 4. Right, 38, obviously. So then I'll divide by 19, and actually I'm pretty good. So that's going to be 4 is less than or equal to x. Okay, so x is less than or equal to 4. But again, remember, like there's infinite many answers that satisfy that inequality, right? So we're going to want to graph the solution on a number line. So if here we have 4, x is less than or equal to, right? So this would be like, I don't know, 3. This would be like 5. So if less than or equal to, it's equal to, so therefore that's going to be filled in. But less than is going to be all these points here going to the left. And that is it. All right, question number 3. So this one, I believe G was asking me just to factor it. They just gave me the question, so I'm assuming that we're looking at factoring. The first thing we're always going to want to do is factor out. Okay, first thing we're always going to want to do is factor out our GCF, which in this case is going to be a 3. So by factoring that out, I get a 2x squared minus a xy minus a y squared. All right, so if this is a quadratic trinomial, that means we can rewrite this as a product of two binomials. So my first two terms would be 2x and x. I know they have to multiply to give me a y squared, so that's going to be a y and a y. Now, all I need to do is figure out, well, which one's negative, right? One has to be a positive y and one has to be a negative y if we're going to multiply them to give me a negative y squared. So I think about this and I say, all right, well, I want my middle term to be a negative xy. So if I multiply 2x times negative y, like what we want is this middle term to give us a negative xy. And look at it, it works when you make this negative because 2x times negative y is a negative 2xy. And this would be a positive xy, right? And that gives you that negative xy. So you can see when you combine these middle two terms, they're going to, or the inner and the outer products are going to combine to give you your middle term, which is the correct factored form. All right, another rational expression. So this one's by Theodore. And so in this case, again, we're going to do the same thing, guys. You know, the reason why I multiplied everything by 10 over here is because I didn't want to deal with fractions. Look what happened once I multiplied everything by 10. I had no more fractions. So what you want to do is find the LCD. Find the smallest number that your denominators evenly divide into. So 4, 6, and 3. What is the number that they all evenly divide into? The smallest number that they all evenly divide into. Well, thank you, Ethan. Wow, thank you so much. I don't know, send super chats often from grades 8 to you helped me along the way. My favorite video of yours is Don't Swear in Class from around 10 years ago. Thank you for all your hard work. You are very welcome. We got to like resurrect the Don't Swear in School. There's actually a couple other really, really good videos that are just funny, you know, snapshots in time back in the old days. But thank you so much for that super chat. I really do appreciate it. And I'm very happy that my videos have helped you, you know, and especially from 8th through 12th grade, that's like amazing. Like I've been able to, serve your education for that long, I think is really cool. And I'm proud to be able to do that for you. So thank you again for that super chat. All right. So what is the smallest number that 4, 6, and 3 all divide into? Well, again, if you're struggling, you can just list the multiples like 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, right? 6, 12, 18, 24, 3, 6, 9, 12. And hopefully you recognize that the smallest number that I just listed all 3 times was 12. So the LCD here is equal to 12. Okay, so multiply everything by 12. Actually, you know what? Let's do this a different way. So I'm going to multiply everything by 12. Everything. Okay, so 12 divided by 4. See how the 12 and the 4, you can simplify that? That's going to give me a 3 times 5m minus 1. Here, my 6 divides into 12 2 times, right? Because again, remember, the LCD, everything in your denominator has to evenly divide into your LCD, right? So 6 evenly divides into 12 2 times. And then in this case, we have 3 evenly divides into 12 4 times. So we have 4, and then plus 4 times 1. Okay, so now we'll just go ahead and distribute that case. So we have a 15m minus 3 equals a 6m plus 2 plus 4. All right, so again, same kind of thing, just like the inequality. Let's get the variables to the same side. So that's a 9m. Let's add the 3 over here. And let's see, that's going to be 5, 9, right? So all those add up. And then divide by 9, m is equal to 1. And voila, there we go. All right, question number 5 says, solve the following equations by using the quadratic formula. And then there's some other questions. But again, if you've submitted a question to me, sometimes people are like, hey, why didn't you answer my question? And I'm like, that's because you sent me 5 different questions. So sometimes if it's overwhelming, guys, if I'm only checking your answers on Sundays, something like that, like I don't spend a lot of time looking over the question. So if it's something that's confusing or there's multiple steps to it, a lot of times I just have to skip it by because it takes too much time for me to prep and get it ready for the upcoming stream. All right, so in this one, we're just going to use the quadratic formula, which, x equals opposite of b, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. All right, and again, that's when we have something in standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c. All right, so a in this case is 12, b is 5, and c is -2. So now we're just going to plug it in and see what happens. So we have -5 plus or minus square root of b squared. So I'll just write 5 squared minus 4 times a times c divided by 2 times a. All right. So we have -5 plus or minus, okay, that's 25. And then here, let's see, that's going to be a negative, so 4 times 12, that's going to be a 24, so that's a -48 times 2, which will be a positive 96. And that's going to be divided by 24. All right, I don't feel like I'm going to be able to take the square root of that. 25, yeah, that'd be 121, which is easy. So -5 plus or minus, I should have done my math a little bit better. That's going to be 121 all over 24. Now, the square root of 121 is going to be equal to 11. So it's -5 plus or minus 11 divided by 24. Okay, so all you're simply going to do is do -5 plus 11 divided by 24. And then we could also do, which is what? That's going to be a positive 6 over 24, which you can divide the top and bottom by 6, and therefore that'd be a 1/4. And then we could also take a -5 minus 11 divided by 24, which is going to equal a -16 divided by 24, which we can divide a 4 into the top and bottom, which would be a -4, 6, which equals a -2/3. I guess you could have done the 8, right? Could have done an 8 in the top and bottom. Would have been a little bit faster. But either way, that works out for that. Yes, I got jumped by my bike. These guys still roast me on my circle, on my eye. All right, next one. Square root of 13 minus 1 quantity squared. So again, just remember, guys, that is the square root of 13 minus 1 times the square root of 13 minus 1. Okay, so we're going to multiply this out. So square root of 13, so all we're going to do is just do a little FOIL, multiply everything times everything. So the square root of 13 times square root of 13 is just going to be 13. Square root of 13 times -1 is a negative square root of 13. -1 times square root of 13 is going to be a negative square root of 13. And -1 times -1 is going to be a positive 1. All right, now you can combine these two terms. Oops. All right, therefore you can add these. Like if I had a negative x minus x, that'd be a -2x, right? So negative square root of 13 minus square root of 13 is a -2 square root of 13 plus 1. So therefore that's a 14 minus 2 square root of 13. You could factor out the 2. That'd be 7 minus the square root of 13. Voila. All right, last question for the stream, and then I'll maybe check in on the chat and see what I can maybe answer from you guys come around. I'm not going to be able to answer a whole bunch of questions, but I always like to check in and chat back in with you guys once I do a whole bunch of math. So this one says a circle centered at the origin has a radius of 10. All right, so let's just go ahead and graph that. Come on. There we go. Okay, we have a circle. Okay, and has a radius of 10. Got it. The terminal side of the angle, theta, intercepts the circle in quadrant 2 at point C. All right, so actually, why don't we do that over here? All right, come on. So it's in quadrant 2. Okay, here's point C, and then we have 10. Side angle, so we have here's going to be that theta, right? Okay, intercepts the circle in quadrant 2 at point C. The y-coordinate of C is going to be 8. So basically that y coordinate, right? If we don't know what this x, we don't know what the coordinate is. We know the y coordinate is, x, and that's 8. Okay, but what does that tell us about this point C, or this like kind of line? And it's asking us to find the cosine. So the y coordinate is 8. What is the value of cosine of theta? Okay, so a couple interesting things that are kind of going on here that we need to understand. First of all, if we're doing cosine is from right triangle trigonometry, right? Even if you're thinking about like the unit circle, like the unit circle is made up of triangles. Like that's where we have the unit circle. So first thing I'm going to recognize is I need to create a right triangle. All right. And if you look at this, if I draw a straight line here, I'm like, oh, I have a right triangle. Now, what is this height? Like, what is the distance from here to here? Well, that's going to be the y coordinate of my coordinate point C, right? So that's going to be 8. That's important because now I basically have this triangle. I guess that doesn't want to go. It's a right triangle. Here's 10. Here's 8. And if I want to find theta, though, we got to like understand, well, like how is the relationship here of like, let's call this alpha inside of here. Okay. Well, the important thing to understand here is like the cosine of theta is equal to the cosine of alpha, because what's happening here is this is going to be our reference angle, or basically this is, I'm not sure if actually I want to use that because yes, it would be the same actually. Yes. Because what's happening here is no, because that's going to give you a different, never mind. Yeah, I don't want to use that. But it's going to be the same value. But what you have to do is you have to understand that it's in the second quadrant. So even though like cosine of alpha would have the same value, technically it'd be a positive value. So you'd have to know that the angle is in the second quadrant. So what we're basically going to do is here's my angle theta that's taking me to this portion. I can use my right triangle and this reference angle here to be able to find my missing side. Now, again, to find cosine, I need to be able to find what my missing side is here. And hopefully you recognize this looks like a Pythagorean identity, right? And if it is, it looks like the 3, 4, 5 triangle. So therefore, using either Pythagorean theorem or the Pythagorean triple, you can recognize that this angle is going to be 6, okay? Because Pythagorean, you could have a 4, 3, 5, right? And you can just keep on doubling that to give it. Or you could also use Pythagorean theorem. And so then what we're going to do in this case is to find the cosine. Cosine of theta is going to basically equal the cosine of my alpha, which in this case is going to be an adjacent over hypotenuse, right? And now you can just simplify that, divide by a 3/5. And there'd be your simplified answer. And the math kid, Anthony, I'm a high school dropout, and I now tutor in math. You're one of the reasons why I understand math so much better. Now, thank you. Well, you are very welcome, the math kid. And hopefully you have some tutoring or some videos on your YouTube channel that hopefully maybe some people that are on this stream that maybe might be interested in help you out. I think that's awesome. I do appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much for that. And I'm very happy my videos have helped out. And I do appreciate the work that you're doing on helping other students, learn math. And I think that's something that's really big as a society that, we think about and we grow. And that's one of the things kind of circling back, going back to that math idea or the pain people. I feel like a lot of people want to invest in education. A lot of people want to, think about how can I invest in other people, in our next generation, right? And improving the educational learning experience for students. And, those kind of options I think are rather limited. And, this idea of, paying students is, I think it's just, and the general concept, that I'm envisioning is like, it's a way for us, for people to invest in people. Right. And to help others, because not everybody's able to, be a teacher. Not everybody's able to be a tutor or to mentor, kids. But through private investment, we can help students get the resources they need, because not everybody has the resources to high quality education or, the resources, the teachers, all the educational opportunities that everybody is afforded all across the world. So, I think involving some sort of private investment in students in their putting a stake into their education is something interesting. I think that's something that could definitely pay some dividends. I haven't seen it be work on a grand scale. I see it with the Takeoff app. Students are interested. Like they're like, hey, I can learn some money and I get to do better and learn. Like that's kind of cool, right? And so yeah, I think it's definitely something that whenever we want to explore different segments, we need to get people motivated. We got to have some incentives. If we want people to, be working or going into certain, career paths and everything else, I think for a lot of people, the traditional career path of going to college, getting a degree and getting a job, hasn't worked out. And with college getting more and more expensive, with COVID kind of changing a lot of the way that the workplace has really, it's kind of shifted. I think we need to kind of also rethink, like, how are we preparing students for the real world, right? And, what are some ways that we can, change the way that things have always been done to help students be prepared, and also help them learn and make society better from there. So definitely some interesting things from this. All right. Well, it took Algebra 1 doing pre-calcs this year. Oh, okay. You call that? Math is too easy. Well, there you go, Kool-Aid. Of course. Pythagorean theorem. Yes, you could have used Pythagorean. Oh, nice. Brian, I watched your 8-year trig videos the other day and you saved my grade. Well, awesome, man. Yeah, it's so crazy. I've been teaching trig online for like 8 years. One of my favorite things is I always wanted to be a teacher. Like when I decided I want to be a teacher, I'm like, I want to be a teacher. So like to say like, I've been a teacher longer than you've been alive. I don't know why that I always thought would be a funny thing to say. So, but I'm almost there. Not quite. I have about 14. Well, actually, yeah. I mean, some of my younger students, actually, yeah. Some of my like youngest students, I actually can say that now too. So yeah. The language is more precise than numbers and math. Very good. Are you okay? You get it. Yeah, I fell off my bicycle as I was doing a morning ride. So thank you so much for that. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining in the live stream. Go ahead and submit your questions in the chat in the description. If you do have them, I'll be more than happy to answer them for next week. If you would like to go ahead and join the Discord server, check it out. And if you would also like to go and check out the Takeoff app to see if you can win some prizes, some real cash money for actually doing your learning, then go ahead and check out that app in the App Store. I'm only aware of the Apple App Store, but hopefully you guys have a great week and check those out. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. All right, cheers. All right. Mina, I would just go, sorry. I was like checking off and then I said, Mina, it's like question. I'm like, all right, you've been on the stream for a bit. So I'm like, all right, now I feel I have to answer your question. So it says, I traveled from Egypt to the US this year and I'm taking honor pre-calculus this year and we'll take AP calculus next year. So what is your recommendation with me? I'm not sure what you're asking me to recommend from you. Yeah, pre-calculus. Go for it. You're good. I would just make sure that you just put in your work, put in the time and the practice. And I think you'll be fine. I have a lot of students that go from pre-calculus to AP calculus. Just, put in the work. But yeah, I'm not sure what else you want from me. The app name is in Takeoff. If you look at it, it's called the Takeoff Live Learning Games. So check out the Takeoff app. It's in there. It's a pinned comment here. So Takeoff. Check it out, and I'll hopefully maybe you guys let me know how that works for you guys next week. All right, cheers.